Okay, so recently there was this new AI program that was released. It's called ChatGPT, and it is very interesting. You can pretty much put in any text you want, and it will respond with some text. You can ask it to do certain things like questions. You can ask it to write a story. You can tell it to give you video ideas for YouTube. You can pretty much ask it to do anything you want, and most things it can answer. It's extremely cool to see, and this could be a big part of the future, and it's awesome to be able to see like a little bit of what that could look like. It's obviously not perfect yet. This is very early, but some of the results are really funny. So today we're going to be trying to use this AI to uncover the dark secrets of My Singing Monsters. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're excited. Oh, and also my limited edition Christmas merch is available right now, and it's going to go away soon. So make sure to go check it out if you want to in the link in the description. Well, so here we go. As you can see, you can type stuff into this chat bar here. So let's say, write me a story about the dark secret of Wubbox from My Singing Monsters. You do this, it'll give you a bunch of information. So let's hear the dark secret of Wubbox from My Singing Monsters. Once upon a time on the magical island of My Singing Monsters, the creatures known as Wubbox were known for their amazing musical abilities. They could create the most beautiful and harmonious melodies, and they were loved by all other monsters on the island. However, not many people know their dark secret of the Wubbox. Behind their cheerful and friendly exterior, they harbored a deep, dark desire. You see, the Wubbox were not just satisfied with creating music. They wanted to control the entire island, and they would stop at nothing to achieve their goal. They began to plot and scheme, forming secret alliances with other monsters and using their musical powers to manipulate the minds of their fellow creatures. Before long, the Wubbox had gained a significant amount of power and influence on the island. They controlled entire territories, and many of the other monsters were afraid to stand up to them. But the Wubbox were not content to stop there. They wanted to rule the entire island, and they began to make plans to overthrow the ruling council and take control. The other monsters grew increasingly worried about the Wubbox's plans, but they were unsure of how to stop them. The Wubbox were too powerful, and their musical abilities made them nearly impossible to resist. Finally, after months of plotting and scheming, the Wubbox made their move. They attacked the council, and in a fierce battle, they managed to defeat the ruling monsters and take control of the island. The Wubbox were now the rulers of My Singing Monsters, and they ruled with an iron fist. They imposed their will on the other monsters, and anyone who dared to defy them was punished severely. The once peaceful and happy island had become a dark, oppressive place, all thanks to the Wubbox's thirst for power. The other monsters lived in fear of Wubbox, and the island was never the same again. But deep down, the Wubbox knew that their power was fragile, and that one day, their dark secret would be uncovered, and they would be forced to pay for their crimes. And so they lived in fear, always looking over their shoulders, waiting for the day when their reign would come to an end. Okay, so that's the story about how Wubbox came to power on the island, I guess. And then one of the coolest part of this AI, other than it just being able to come up with stories like that, is look, you can type in, you can respond to this by saying, please give me a sequel to that story where Wubbox gets defeated by a group of unexpected characters. Make that group of unexpected characters include Harry Potter, Markiplier, and Joe Biden. And here's the story. After the Wubbox had taken control of the island of My Singing Monsters, they ruled with an iron fist, imposing their will on the other creatures and punishing anyone who dared to defy them. But despite their power, the Wubbox knew that their reign was fragile, and they lived in fear of being overthrown. They constantly looked over their shoulders, waiting for the day when their dark secret would be uncovered, and they would be forced to pay for their crimes. That one day came sooner than expected. A group of unexpected heroes emerged to challenge the Wubbox's rule. These heroes included Harry Potter, the famous wizard, Markiplier, the popular video game streamer, and Joe Biden, the former president of the United States. He is not the former president of the United States. The AI gets things wrong sometimes. At first, the Wubbox were confident that they could defeat this unlikely group of heroes. They summoned all their musical powers and attacked with full force. But Harry, Mark, and Joe were ready for them. They fought back with all their strength, using their own unique abilities to counter the Wubbox's musical attacks. As the battle raged on, the Wubbox began to realize they were no match for these unexpected heroes. They grew weaker and weaker, and their musical powers began to falter. In the end, the Wubbox were defeated, and the island of My Singing Monsters was free once again. Harry, Mark, and Joe were hailed as heroes, and the other creatures on the island celebrated their victory. The Wubbox were banished from the island, and they were never ever seen again. The island returned to its peaceful and happy state, and the creatures lived in harmony once more. And so the dark secret of Wubbox was finally uncovered, and they were forced to pay for their crimes. but thanks to the bravery of Harry, Mark, and Joe, the island of monsters were saved, and peace was restored once again. Alright, so I guess that's the sequel to the Dark Secret of Wubbox and how Harry, Joe, and Markiplier were able to destroy them. Let's hear another story about my singing monsters. So this time I'm gonna write a really random prompt to this thing, and I'm just gonna tell you guys the story, and it's gonna be confusing, but that's gonna be the point. It was a typical Friday night for Tim. He was staying up late playing Fortnite on his iPad in his dark bedroom. His parents were out at a party and he had the house to himself, but as he was mid-game, he heard a knock at the door. Tim paused the game and went to check it out, but when he got to the door, there was no one there. He was puzzled, but shrugged it off. He must have imagined it, but then he heard another knock. This time, he checked the footage on his Ring doorbell and was shocked by what he saw. There, standing on his porch, with dark red eyes, was a mammoth from My Singing Monsters. The creature looked sinister, with one hand behind its back, as if it's hiding a weapon. Tim's heart raced as he tried to process what he was seeing. Was this some kind of prank? But why would Mammoth be at this door? And how is it possible for the creature to be on the live camera feed, but not actually there in real life? Tim was scared. He knew that he needed to protect his family, but he didn't know how to deal with a creature like Mammoth. He decided to stay in his room and lock the door, hoping the creature would go away. But Mammoth didn't go away. Instead, he began haunting Tim, constantly reminding him that he hadn't gotten a haircut in 14 years and that he needed to cut his toenails because he left his Hot Pocket in the microwave. As the weeks went on, Tim lived in fear, constantly looking over his shoulder for any sign of the creature. He tried to warn his family, but they didn't believe him. One night, Tim heard a loud crash from downstairs. He knew it was Mammoth. He raced down to find the creature standing in the living room, holding a weapon in his hand. "You and your family will pay for your neglect," Mammoth snarled. "I will destroy you all." Tim was terrified, but he didn't back down. He stood his ground and fought back against the creature, using whatever he could find to defend himself. The battle raged on, with Tim doing his best to protect his family, but in the end, he wasn't sure if they would be able to defeat Mammoth. The story ends on a cliffhanger, leaving the fate of Tim and his family uncertain. Will they be able to defeat the creature and save their home, or will Mammoth succeed in destroying them all? Only time will tell. I'm gonna tell it to write a sequel with some more interesting things that I won't tell you exactly what I'm writing. As Tim continued to fight against Mammoth, he realized that he couldn't do it alone. He needed help. Just then, Alvin and the Chipmunks appeared out of nowhere, and they jumped into the battle on Tim's side together. They used their quick reflexes and clever tricks to fend off Mammoth, but just as they thought they had the upper hand, SpongeBob and Jeff Bezos appeared to lend their assistance to Mammoth. Jeff Bezos transformed into his spider form with 8 legs and sharp teeth, making him an even more formidable opponent. The battle raged on with twists and turns that no one could have predicted. Tim and the Chipmunks fought bravely, and they were no match for the combined strength of Mammoth and the other two. Just when all hope seemed lost, a group of superheroes arrived to even the odds. They battled fiercely against Mammoth and his allies, using their incredible powers to protect Tim and his family. The final showdown was intense, with their fate of Tim and his family hanging in the balance. Who would emerge victorious? Well, I guess that's all the dark secrets of My Singing Monsters. If you guys want to see me make a part 2 of this video, let me know. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.